are facing threats from various quarters. Journalists on the front line, capturing the country's affairs, continue to be attacked, and their efforts to remain independent are being curtailed by the government. However, the government claims it is ready to engage in talks with journalists. Meanwhile, the Office of the Ombudsman, led by its chair, Florence Kajuju, has condemned the recent attacks and called on the government to allow the media to carry out its coverage freely.
Efforts of the messenger to inform the public about the current state of the country is at risk as journalists keep facing threats, a move likely to deny journalists access and dissemination of credible information. At the moment, media freedom, particularly regarding government misconduct, is severely compromised, and this challenge has cornered members of the Fourth Estate.
Next week, tutakuwa na hiyo mgomo wa kujieleza kusema tuna haki zetu za kufanya kazi yetu. Sisi ni kusema haki yetu lazima tuitetee. Usipotetea nafasi yako na kazi yako itachukuliwa. So tunaizingira, tunakusema ni haki na kwa umma kusema hatutatishwa kamwe na mtu yeyote.
As journalists prepare to take to the streets next week, government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura has called for dialogue, urging journalists to come to the table for discussions. He refuted claims of a strained relationship between the government and the media.
Na kwa hivyo wanahabari, tungependa kutoa kauli kama serikali, tuko tayari kuzungumziana na nyinyi, tuweze kuona kwamba mnafanya kazi yenu ipasavyo kwa njia ya uhuru na bila kuegemea upande wote mwingine.
Despite the gesture by the government, some media houses are already facing threats, specifically targeting journalists working for the Royal Media Services. The threats are being circulated through flyers shared on social media. In a statement, the Kenya Editors Guild noted that the attacks amount to an assault on the constitutional guarantees of media freedom perpetrated by those presumed to be guardians of law and order. The institution called on the government to provide protection for media houses, particularly those being targeted. Meanwhile, Chairperson of the Commission on Administrative Justice of the Office of the Ombudsman expressed her regret that journalists were being targeted by security agencies while performing their duties.
Honestly, when journalists are covering the protests, they are geared, they have their own gear that identifies the journalists to the police officers. So we don't see why there's confrontation. We don't see why this lady in Nakuru was shot.
The Constitution of Kenya, Articles 33, 34 and 35 clearly stipulate about the freedom of expression of the media.
If not well handled, the push and pull between the government and media fraternity could result in significant losses for journalists and keep Kenyans in the dark about the state of the nation. The situation could place the country in a difficult position regarding whom to trust. Paul Kirobi, TV47, Nairobi.